I knew you had them ready. That's the even worst part about this. I knew you had them ready.
Yeah, it's your boy Danny J. Quick, and I'm here with Kyron Silva. And we want to thank you for joining the Four Tales podcast.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.
We're about to talk some comics and get a little bit controversial. Everything from indie books to movie deal level commercial. With no rehearsals when we converse to coerce you. And then we do the quick takes and try to get to the person. So join us and get your comic book a few more sales once a week wherever you pod. It's Four Tales. Once a week wherever you pod. It's Four Tales.
You're not gonna get me.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Taurus Comics in collaboration with Fourth Wall Production respectfully brings to you the 166th episode of the Four Tales podcast. I'm your host, Kyron Silva from Taurus Comics. Across the way is the purse bard of Ace Blade, Danny J. Quick, and together we're your two award-winning Blurred comic creators here to help you find your next favorite comic. We are live on the Age to Geekdom Network by Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and I think TikTok. I never know with TikTok. It's weird. But if you're listening or watching us live, thank you for your support. But don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and review our podcast because all your positive reviews and interactions help us reach a bigger audience. What's up, man?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I'm actually a little pissed right now because my TikTok is not connected, I see, but yours is. So, hey, great. Whatever.
You literally never know what this thing. You never know. I don't see this on Facebook either right now. You just never know, man. Twitch is going. I can see Twitch is going, so that's good. And I think YouTube is up. We'll see, I guess. But nah, man, I'm having a good time, man. I'm been in a better headspace. I know I told you I was going through some things over the past months, but I'm getting a lot better and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully it's not a train.
Damn.
But how you doing?
Damn. What? I mean, I hope it's not a train either, but damn. I'm doing all right. I can't complain. I had a 2-hour meeting at the Crocker Art Museum today to discuss CrockerCon, and
looks like it's coming together, man. How the art you did for it.
Oh, really? Man. Did you actually saw it?
Yeah, you sent it to me.
I never know when I send you things, honestly.
Yes, you did. You sent it to me, and I thanked you for sneaking Ace Blade or Ace Blade reference.
You're right.
In there, remember?
You're right.
Yeah.
My bad.
One of us is getting old, Kyron. I don't know which one it is, but one of us is getting old.
I think it's me. I'm not sure. I know I'm older than you. That's all I know is I'm older than you.
Just for a couple of days, I think.
No, I'm like 4 or 5 years older than you.
We don't need to tell people that though. We can tell people that we're the same age.
They can look at us and see we're not the same.
No, you got gray hairs, but I'm bald. So it's like I could be 52 right now. Nobody who would know. We could both be 52 or 38. One thing about being black is that you just don't know. But anyway, you been reading any good comic books lately?
I just actually finished issue 1 and 2 of Alice Lost in Wonderland by friend of the show, Fishley, who does have a Kickstarter right now out for issue 3. So if you have not backed it, please go back and back it.
I did not know that. I'm going to go back and right now.
That was a reminder for you specifically. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. I've been so disconnected, man. I just don't know.
I also read this amazing art book called Panels in Paradise. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Ooh,
I
I
saw a
did. I
print
did.
preview of that today. It looks amazing. Danny is putting everything together, and he did a fantastic job. So we're gonna be getting that out to print pretty soon.
I think it came out pretty good. There's a lot of additional steps that I didn't think I was gonna have to make, and a bunch of stuff that I had to redo in putting it together. But hey, it's almost there. It's probably about 95%
And
there.
there's some more
So
things you have to redo, but we're not gonna talk about that, right?
they were about
83%.
83% there. It was
You know, but you transformed what I had into something amazing.
I think transforming is a common theme for tonight because we have an amazing guest on today. Mr. Nathan Kelly is here
No,
with us,
no,
all the way
no.
from the UK. Oh, I'm sorry, Nathan
Wow.
Webb. I don't know where
Wow.
he's from.
I mean,
Nathan
Nathan
Kelly
Kelly,
is
if he ever gets back into comics, we'd love to have him on here. But
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Nathan Webb is here, freelance illustrator, collector of 80s toys, right?
Right.
Am I right in that? That's right. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. Really quickly, for our audience, if they aren't following you already, just give us a quick background of who you are and what you've been doing in comics and what you're here to talk about.
Yeah, I'm a comic artist and now writer. I ran about 5 or 6 Kickstarter comic books. It was going fairly successful at the moment, which is nice.
well,
My background
don't
is
underestimate yourself. You said fairly successful. You funded, and you have like
Yeah,
within
the first week. That's really successful.
yeah, it's good.
yeah.
I mean, my funding goals are kept quite low, so that because I always think it looks better, you know, if people go, oh, it's funded. So I keep, and because I write, I draw, I do the lettering. There's no one I need to pay other than the printers and the postman.
I was about to say, get you a printer and you can do it all.
Next on my list, yeah.
So how is that? Well, I guess let's talk about that. What is your Kickstarter about? What is your books about?
So I've got this props, Britformers, which is my sort of sequentially British take on Transformers, and that I finished a 4-issue story arc, and so this next issue is Britformers presents the Psychons, and so I'm keeping almost the same branding so I could get all my current fan base in on it, but starting from issue 1 with all new characters, just so it'd be a really good sort of jumping on point for new readers, as it were. And it's transformizable robots, and they're all bad guys. There's no goodies, and they're the most evil of the evil, and out committing carnage.
Hey, I love it. I was never a huge fan of Transformers. I think I was born in 1985, so
Can't have the man on here talk about he's not a fan of Transformers. What? How can you not be a fan of Transformers?
Transformers, but I was never like the Transformers fans that I know are like super fans. So like, they know all the characters, they know all the cartoons, they collect the action figures and all that stuff. I've watched the cartoons and the Michael Bay movies, and that's about it.
Talk about the Michael Bay movies.
I enjoyed a couple of those movies. But no. So no, I've definitely seen the impact that Transformers has had. I want to ask you both, what do you think it is about Transformers that captivates people so much?
That is a good question. I mean, the whole sort of, it's like a fidget toy. You have it and you can,
Move it,
transform it and all that sort of things. And I love cars. I love robots. put them together. Yeah.
There you go. And there you
Nice.
go.
Now you said your book
Um,
is sequentially British. What makes it, specifically British compared to just a regular Transformers book?
So the original Britformers, they were all British vehicles. So like a Jaguar E-Type and a Mini, and a Land Rover, and a Rolls Royce, and a lot of the stories revolved around a British location, like sort of Stonehenge was one of them.
Mhm.
And then on the front cover of issue 0 was Big Ben, and because it's the first story was set in the 1960s, and so I tried to link the stories to events that actually happened in the UK and stuff. So there was a massive mining disaster, and so I linked that with, oh, that's where their spaceship crashed, and there
Mm.
was a famous train robbery. You might have heard of it. And so I was like, the Britformers, because they're baddies, they're not, they committed the train robbery, and those sorts of things.
Nice.
oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I like historical fiction kind of things, like things stories that kind of mixed real life events with a new kind of fantasy world. So that's pretty interesting. I like that. I want to ask you though, as an artist, drawing, I'm always amazed by like the level of detail and the in drawing specifically like machines, even if it's regular cars and stuff like that. I have Kyron drawing horses because those are one of the animals that just seems hard to draw. So I'm just like, Kyron, I want you to draw horses. But Transformers, that seems like a whole different
Oh
it
yes.
seems like a whole different beast. Like, what is your process come like as an artist? And now, especially now that you're writing too, are you writing with that in mind? Having to draw these things, having to draw these Britformers, or are you more of a Rob Liefeld and hide in certain parts so
Oh
that you
yeah,
don't have to?
yeah. Always try to hide the feet at all times. Yeah, especially as they sort of, the Transformers feet are always really massive and chunky,
Hmm.
because as
Mm.
toys they need to be able to stand up in a balance, and so it doesn't quite translate into comic books and stuff. But no, it's a tricky one because I'll sort of, if I'm drawing a robot, I'll draw a person, and then I'll sort of turn that human form into boxes, and then shrink their head down, and always draw a car on their chest, car bonnet on their chest, or whatever needs to be done. And yeah, all those sort of lines and little, you have to sort of, for continuity's sake, you're going to go, oh yeah, what sort of panel markings did he have on the back of his arm in the
Mm.
last issue? So it is quite tricky. You have to obviously reference your own artwork and remember, oh yes, he's got a little circle on his forearm right there, all that sort of stuff.
When you're drawing your issue, how many character sheets do you have on standby to just reference really quickly here, or is it all just you're remembering everything from your head?
No, well, I could produce a little character bible,
Okay.
and one of the things I do is in my Kickstarter, I'll say, well, if I reach X percent of stretch goal, I'll put those character sheets in the book. So I always think to myself, well, it's artwork that I've already done, and so it's less work for me, and I can reuse that artwork that I've already produced.
I mean, you looking at your Kickstarter, and I'm going to share it real quick on the screen. You've actually met all your stretch goals, right? Am I
Yeah,
looking at that right?
yeah. No, I need to be braver with my stretch goals and reach a bit further next time.
I mean, your last stretch goal was $1,000. You're already at 1470. I mean, this is U.S. dollars. I know originally it's supposed to be pounds, but um, do you have anything planned for maybe another stretch goal now that you're so far ahead?
I've been playing around with ideas in my head, and well, I've got something on the go, and I don't know if it's going to play out in time. I've hired a 3D designer to design a robot because this Kickstarter, I really wanted a toy line with it, and I employed a 3D designer to create an action figure, and unfortunately, it's gone awry.
Oh no.
It just happens. He stopped replying. He's been split second he got paid. He ghosted me, and and he sent me the files, but so I could print off these figures, and some of the files print well, and some of the files just don't. And all I need him to do is just correct the files, and he's not come back to me. But I've found another 3D modeler to come up with a figure. He's working, and he sent me some images, and I've gone, "Oh, can you print them out yourself and send me photos so I can see that the model works?" So if he manages to finish it maybe this week or next, I might be adding an extra tier to the Kickstarter with, "Oh, we've got this other action figure," because I mean every comic book reader loves toys as well, don't they? They're like they just go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So yeah, toys and comics.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, and it's going to be, one of my questions for later also. But the toys, I know that's one thing that we struggle with here in America, like finding somebody who can do toys at an affordable price, whether it's 3D printed or cast molded or things like that. What's your secret? Like, is it small print runs, or are you trying to go all out and invest in infrastructure?
I have
what's the process?
I have a 3D printer. I have several 3D printers. So yeah, the original idea was if I got this design, I would be able to print them out myself, tidy them up, and ship them out to people. And I could print them in the correct colors, so that I didn't have to do paint applications or anything, and ship them out. And it is a fairly small number. I think I've sold 12, but the 3D printing with the files didn't work out. And so what I've done is I found a toy on a Chinese website that's really cheap, that looks like one of the characters from my story. And if you for those of you people who have read issue 4 of Britformers, they'll instantly recognise it's the Time Warrior on the cover. And I sprayed it gold, taking it to pieces, and very, very careful. And I've done a lot of toy customizing. So
is it Kronos? Oh,
yeah, there he is.
yeah.
So he's a Transformer toy, and so it's not what I had wanted in my first toy line, but it's good, and he looks cool. People seem to like him, so it's definitely a winner for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you didn't tell me that you found it, on Alibaba or wherever, I wouldn't have known. I would not have known. I think that's awesome. And I think, creative solutions like that are, a must. Like I was talking to my son. There are these like standard little 3D printed action figures, and you can download, like you said, you can download these online, and if I could just learn how to modify them just a little bit, I could make this into Ace Blade. So I think creative solutions like that are absolutely a must at our indie level, until we can get in contact with McFarlane Toys or somebody like that, who already has the infrastructure in place to make things like that. My other question I wanted to ask, did you, when you decided to do the Britformers, were you apprehensive at all about getting in any trouble by doing this kind of story, or it's just are you not worried about that at all?
I'm not worried lawsuit wise, no. So there's no carryover characters or anything from the Transformers. And I worked on officially on the Transformers Earth Wars computer game, which is a mobile phone game. I found the company running it were in London, so I contacted them, said, "Can I come see you?" Managed to get a job there and work there for a brief period. And my main concern was, if I do this, am I going to be annoying or or putting off the people in the industry that I know who have worked for? That was my main concern. And am I sort of if I do a knockoff, am I shutting the door to that aspect of my career? But I think so far it's going well, and nobody minds. And my big hope really would be that the new company that have the license to the Transformers comic books will see my stuff and go, "Oh, this is this guy can really draw. That let's hire him." So
I think so.
Yeah. No, I think that's great, and I think in the space that we're in now, we see more and more creators doing, either what is it called, fan fiction, stuff like that. We had Stephanie Williams on the show who literally did a kind of a daytime drama or comedy called Living Heroes, where she had She-Hulk and some other Marvel characters, in a series living in a downtown Manhattan apartment, which was a little comedy, and that's was one of the things that kind of put her on the radar for Marvel in DC. So I think we see more and more people doing things like that, and as long as they're respectful to the characters and things like that, I haven't seen many people be approached in a negative way about things like that. So I think you really got a shot with your goal there. So yeah, I think more creators should do that. I'm saying it and I have ideas that I'm scared to do, but I think more creators should do stuff like that for sure.
So one of the things that, at least as far as a '80s kid, that I liked about Transformers and the uh, comic books is that they always had like a crossover here and there, usually with GI Joe or things like that. And I know, looking at your Kickstarters, you've done other types of series. Are you going to, in the future, maybe do a crossover with the other book?
Oh, so I do a crossover in the book. So it's Britformers and Armed Force. And for those who don't know, Action Force was the UK name for GI Joe.
Oh,
and
okay.
Because Britain is a smaller market, in the 80s, the Transformers and the GI Joe comics were merged into one. And so I've tried that model, in that half the comic book is taken up with Britformers, half the comic book is taken up with this Armed Force. And so and those stories sometimes are separate and sometimes intertwine.
I like it. So is Jack Magnus part of the Armed Force story, or is that another?
So the Jake Magnus was written and produced by a friend of mine, and I don't think he'd say it. So that's it. That's sort of his IP. So I'm happy. I draw it, and he's. I don't know what's happening with
I was looking at it, and I just I wonder. I know there's genres that people all over the world love. Everybody loves a good action comedy, but it reminded me a lot of like the $1 Million Man. So I was like, I wonder. But I know you guys, y'all have James Bond and all kinds of stuff over there. Love spy. We love spy movies and thrillers and stuff like that. So Well, you already said you don't know what's going on with it, but that's one that I'm interested in. So if you do get any word on it, let me know. It's one I'm definitely interested in
Cool.
checking
I
out.
mean, I know the writer had bigger plans, but he's currently working for a computer games magazine, and I think that's taking up all of his time. And yeah,
Mm.
who knows?
So, with issue 5 being funded, what's next for Britformers and for you, actually?
So I've got quite a few things going on for me. I've written the next 3 issues of Britformers Presents. So because I've got a story arc that I want to tell. But also I have been approached by a company, a small, actually Irish company, comic book company, and I've been asked not to talk about it too much. But there might be another, a distraction. It'd simply be another Kickstarter, but they're a slightly bigger organization than myself, being a one-man band. So that might be nice. And they do action figures, and they do actually do it properly. So that'd be cool.
Is that difficult for you sometimes with you basically doing everything, to just do the writing and the artwork and the lettering and the editing? Like, do you find it overwhelming?
Yeah, it is. I mean, and now I think I have different sort of time spaces for writing. So if I'm writing, it'll be like when I go to bed, because I actually write on my phone. I write in the notes section on my phone, so I'll have an idea during the day, and before I go to bed, I'll jot it down, or I'll be, rehashing an old idea and stuff. So it's a separate time space, whereas artwork is, I'm up, sat at my table. But yeah, and lettering doesn't come naturally to me. If you've seen the comic books, okay, he's not a natural letterer, and so I struggle with that one. It's not my favorite, and in the past I have got other people to help out with lettering, but one, relying on other people and paying people, it's
It adds up.
not always easy. And with all the best will in the world, if you're relying on someone to letter your comic book, and they're doing it as this is something I do in my spare time, you can't then demand, I need it this week. And so I find it's just easier to do it myself, no matter how.
You can. That's how Kyron did for me. Whenever I'm working on something for Kyron, he says, "Listen, if you don't get it done this week, you don't get paid, and if you don't get paid, your children are going to be out on the street." And he knows that I can't have my kids out on the street. So, that's the kind of boss Kyron is, though. So, but no,
Whatever.
we've all had those stories, dealing with artists and especially in the indie space, once you get kind of to the professional leagues, those prices go way up, but there's some consistency that kind of is baked in there, some trust that you can usually count on. I've heard some horror stories in mainstream comics too, but hopefully that doesn't deter you from keeping going, because these are stories that are worth making for sure. Do you have I know you said you got a overall story that you wanna tell. Are you doing more of a connected universe with these characters? Would you like, or is it kind of separate?
So this issue, which is the Psychons, deals with all these new characters, but they were sort of hinted at in one of the Britformers stories. And yeah, my idea was, I'm setting up these sort of super bad guys, and they're going to be the villains that will then go and fight the Mini and the Jaguar and the Land Rover in a future episode. And so it's building to a big climax. That's the idea.
Nice. We do I was going to say we do have a question here through TikTok because we are seeing you guys on TikTok too. Question is from Martin67. Do you have a personal favorite Brit former character? And if so, what makes them your favorite?
Yeah, so MC, who's a Mini Cooper, and he's sort of my I model him on Michael Caine. He's definitely my favorite character.
So Michael Caine is a Mini Cooper. Okay.
Yeah.
See, MC. I love a good Michael. What's your favorite Michael Caine movie?
The Italian Job.
To get off. That's a good one. That's a good one. Michael Caine. I love the Batman movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's about time for quick takes. Kyron, if you're ready. Are you ever ready?
All right.
Quick takes.
That picture.
We're gonna have to
That picture.
at some point we're gonna have to figure out what the origin is of that picture. Before you leave, we got to find out what the origin is of that picture.
Okay, so that was Christmas Day in Afghanistan, and it was snowing.
Oh.
And so I was just goofing off because, you know.
I'm glad none of the pictures survived from my deployment to Iraq, and because I would have many of those same pictures. Probably some that could get me in trouble today. But yeah, okay. So quick takes. If you haven't seen the show before, quick takes is a rapid Q&A session where we grill our guests on their deepest, darkest secrets from the internet. But since I couldn't find any of your deepest, darkest secrets, we'll just ask you some questions to get to know you a little bit better. Okay. So, question number 1. If you could only draw one of these things for the rest of your life, you can't draw the other one anymore, which one would you choose and why? Dinosaurs or robots?
Robots. Oh, yeah, I love robots.
Okay, nice and simple. I love it. Okay. All right. So question number 2. As an indie comic book creator, I know having action figures is a goal of ours, but also I love to see people cosplay my characters. So which one do you think would be better for you, to have action figures out there, or to have a lot of people cosplaying your character?
Oh, cosplayers sometimes make me nervous. You know, they can be I want a toy line, 100%. I would really love to have every single character from my comic books in toy form. That would be so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna skip over quick question number 3 because like it was gonna be about Jake Magnus. So we're gonna skip over question number 3 and go to question number 4. So
wait. Are we
question 4,
replacing question 3 with something else?
We'll replace question 3 with
something else.
Yeah, we'll replace question number 3. But question number 4, and we'll go back to question number 3. So the secret to toys. All right, we already talked about finding something online, but if you had a secret, you had a secret button to make toys work, how do you think we could manage that in the indie space?
A secret button. I don't know if that's such a big loaded question. Yeah, I need to find. I really hope that the 3D modeler that I've got working for me right now is a good guy who doesn't just bail on me the second I paid him. So if I could get that in the next Kickstarter, I think realistically I'll have a 3D printed action figure, and that'll be cool. And finding someone who can 3D model, that's the key to it.
I think that might be it though. Like if because now that 3D printers are more accessible, finding if there was somebody in the indie community that could do that work, could do that 3D modeling. I know we could. I know myself and Kyron, we would use those people. We would reference other people to them. We would keep them employed, with those things. So finding somebody who is consistent and who can do that work and loves modeling those characters, they could get work. So yeah, I mean, that might be it. Once you find somebody that's good, send them our way because we can. We'll definitely hire them too. Okay, all right. Going back to question number 3. What is your favorite 80s cartoon that's not Transformers?
Oh my goodness, there's no one. So I loved Visionaries. I loved Mask. Ulysses. Do you remember the Ulysses cartoon?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I think it was set in the future in space. That was, and it was French.
Yep.
That was cool. Akira. Oh, that's. I can still watch that and go, wow, this animation is the best. What else?
You got to pick one though.
Pick one. I'm gonna have to go with
if only one.
Visionaries. Visionaries was so cool.
Storyline for Visionaries
seen
was
that one.
horrible, but the animation and the toys for that were the holographic images on their chest was cool.
Yeah.
Is this the Knights of the Magic Light?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just born in the wrong year, I think. I missed some cool stuff. But that's cool. That's cool. Okay. All right. So question number 5, and we always have our guests do a top 5 list off the top of their head. So of course I'm gonna ask you, who are your top 5 Transformers characters?
Oh, right, top 5. I think now this is a deep dive. So Prowl, who was a police car, I always really liked him, and he was a sort of a character who wasn't used very much, and so in my head I would come up with stories about him, and he, I was able to sort of put more of my interests into him, whereas someone like Optimus Prime is set in stone. Swerve, who was a metallurgist, which got sort of changed to he's a cocktail guy, which I always thought was funny. I liked that. The best villain is Galvatron. Galvatron in the comic book, especially in the British comic books, was the next level evil, and I quite liked that. Yeah. That's 3.
One more.
Cup, who was like the old salty warrior who was always falling apart and had a rusty knee. Yeah, I get that now.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean. Transformers. People love Transformers. Y'all know all of. I hadn't heard of 3 of those characters before, so I need to get on it.
And Cup always had that. Well, he has one more. He has one more.
One more.
I thought he said 5.
So there was a character who was created for the comic strip, so he didn't have a toy, and I think he was written in so that he could be killed off, and his name was Impactor. Yeah, he was in the British story, because we had some British only stories. He was this character called Impactor, who was a goodie, and he was killed off horribly, so that his friends would be like, "Oh, I'm so traumatized." Oh, and yeah, but he was just a cool badass character.
He's got a cool design too. That purple and orange is cool.
I'd never heard of him. I had heard of Cup. I love Cup, especially because he had like that gravelly tone in his voice when he would talk. And he was a shorter character compared to everybody else too, if I remember correctly. It's always like, but yeah, I never heard of Impactor before. I got to look into him. little bit more.
He's got a toy now, but in the 80s he didn't have a toy, and he was that character you bring into a story, build them up just so you can kill them off.
Okay.
Hey, yeah, give that emotional impact. But yeah, that one has a pretty.
It has
cool
purple.
design.
Yes, we know you love purple. We know.
I mean, but also the big gun on the shoulder is pretty cool. So, but yes, purple. All right, so thanks for doing that for us. This week, Quick Takes has been brought to you by Gemini Comic Supply. If you go to GeminiComicSupply.com and use the promo code AceBlade, you get 10% off your entire order. Kyron, back to you.
Thank you for that, Denny, and I appreciate it. Nathan, we appreciate you staying up. We didn't even mention that for our audience that's out there listening. Nathan is up, and it is 1:41 right now for you, right?
Correct. Yeah.
1:41 a.m. He has stayed up late, to be honest. So we appreciate you staying up late. We want to make sure our audience follows you after this, though. Where is the best place on social media or online that people can maybe keep up with you and your work and keep up with your upcoming projects?
So on Facebook, I have a Britformers page where I post about my Kickstarters quite regularly. On Instagram, I'm We66 Illustration, I think. And then I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky, just as Nathan Webb, I think.
All right. Cool. All right. Danny, where can we catch you and your work?
If you want to find me, the best place to go is my website, fourthwallpros.com. And if you want to follow me on social media, the best place to go is at the AceBlade on all social media platforms. Kyron, where can people find you?
You can find me at tauruscomics.com. I am on all social media platforms at Taurus Comics. You might be able to find me this weekend at the theaters watching the K-pop Demon Hunters sing along with my kid. But you never know. But if this is your first time checking out our podcast, you go to our website, and that is fourtailspodcast.com. That is number 4, TALES podcast. You can listen to our previous episodes. You can buy merchandise, and we will make sure we link all our guest information there. Join us next week, though. It is the last Friday of August, which means that it is Fortnite Friday. Danny and I will be playing Fortnite again. You guys want to watch us get killed by 12-year-olds as we play Fortnite?
Ah, man, we're gonna win this time, man. We're gonna get a victory.
Again, if you want to watch us get killed by 12-year-olds, join us at the same time next week when we'll be live stream Fortnite. And hey, if you want to join us, maybe we always do duos. You guys want to do a squad, reach out to us. We'll work out something. We can get you guys on our squad. Until then, though, everybody, sayonara, goodbye, and please take care of yourselves.
Thanks for having me, guys.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.